Hi, my name is Rob Earlam and I'm a technical evangelist with Sitecore, and I'm going to give you today an introduction to a new module we have called Sitecore Experience Accelerator Storefront. Now typically when you do your implementation, the different phases of the project happen in a pretty linear fashion. So you'd start off with your UX phase, followed by your visual design phase. You'd then have your front-enders create static versions of the pages your designers had laid out. These static assets are then passed to the backend team who integrate these into Sitecore. And finally, when all of this has been completed and tested and everyone's happy, you can do your content population. What SxA does is it allows you to run these different work streams in parallel. Through the use of tools like a drag and drop interface and a creative exchange, you can greatly reduce your time to market. Now we've got some great documentation already out there for SxA, explaining how all these tools work and the various benefits they provide. So I'm not going to focus too much on that today. Instead, I want to talk to you about an extension to SxA which we're releasing as part of a Sitecore Experience Commerce 9 called SxA Storefront, and it's got some really great features. First of all, out of the box, you get over 40 pre-built commerce-specific controls to accelerate your implementation. These are the most common controls that you would be building as part of an ecom build, and now you're getting them right out of the box. We include a complete example reference storefront built on those same 40 controls, a full end-to-end B2C experience with 2 themes provided. This is also built on top of Sitecore's new Sitecore Experience Commerce 9, the latest and greatest commerce framework. And it has a deep integration with Sitecore X Connect, meaning you get all the benefits that provides for your data collection and reporting. So let's take a look at those components. First off, we have a series of components to allow account management for your users. These allow things like registration, logon, for them to edit their profile data, change their password, or go through a forgot password cycle. We have a series of cart controls, allowing users to add products to their cart, to view what's in their cart currently and the various price totals for those items. You also get a mini cart control which you can add to your header to give a snapshot of what's in the cart. We have a lot of catalog components released. These include things like product inventory data, product image data, basically any control where you need to display merchandising data on the page. We have a series of checkout controls to allow you to create a stepped checkout process for things like billing and delivery, and you get a step indicator to give a nice visual indication to the user of where they are through the process. We have order components to allow you to give users details of any orders that they've placed on the site. And we have some shared components as well, things like language selection and message summary to allow you to give contextual messaging to the user as they interact with your storefront. The storefront itself is built on top of using those 240 controls that I mentioned previously, and is a full end-to-end B2C shopping experience. It comes with 2 themes out of the box and a full Braintree integration for handling payments. There are also 15 sample promotions configured, which you can use right off the bat. So as I said before, this is also built on top of Sitecore Experience Commerce 9, the latest and greatest framework from Sitecore. This includes a brand new set of business tools built from the ground up against AngularJS, which interact directly with the new Commerce Engine. The Commerce Engine itself is built against .NET Core, Microsoft's latest and greatest new development framework, so you can be confident that you're building against bleeding edge technology. All of the communication between the various elements in the architecture is all handled using the industry standard OData protocol. And this is all built using a plugin based architecture. Now what that means is it's very simple for you to add and remove features as required. And what that leaves you with is an application footprint that is exactly the right size for the implementation you need to deliver. With the tight integration with XConnect, you get a large suite of reports available for yourselves to give you data on how people are interacting with your site. This includes information on the orders that are placed, your campaigns that have been running, the products that are there, including which ones are selling comparing to which ones which aren't, the categories which are viewed most frequently, We have a large amount of reports based on the customers to do with registrations, which customers order the most by amount or by frequency. We have reports based on regional settings and shopping cart activity. You can see which products are most frequently added to the cart and removed from the cart, regardless of whether that cart proceeds into an order or not. We have reports based on filtering and sorting, and also internal search, so you can see how people are navigating through your site. We have reports based on wish list and loyalty programs should you wish to implement those features. And we have payments and shipping reports as well. So if we take a look at the architecture, we start off with the Sitecore Experience platform over on the right here. And then we introduce Sitecore Experience Accelerator, the module this is all built on. Now that heavily leverages PowerShell for Sitecore. And after we introduce this, next you can see comes in the Sitecore Commerce Engine itself. This is the .NET Core application I mentioned previously. On top of that, we then introduce Sitecore Commerce Connect. This is the abstraction layer that allows all the other pieces of the architecture to communicate with the engine. Now we start to introduce the actual layers for the SxA Storefront functionality. First of all, we have our foundation layer modules. Then we have our feature layer modules, which are the actual components you'll be dragging onto the page. We have the project layer modules, which are the pages themselves. And finally, the visual design layer, which is where the theming features come into play. Now from those SxA layers, I hope it was pretty obvious that SxA Storefront is completely Helix compatible. We have our various foundation layers providing common functionality that are leveraged by the other modules. Next, we have our feature modules, things like the catalog module, which contains various controls for interacting with catalog data. The cart module, which also contains its own set of controls, this time for interacting with cart data. And these modules go on to build up all of the functionality which is provided with SxA Storefront. On top of that, we then have our project layer. These are the store pages and the actual themes. But not only does this follow Helix best practices, it also follows industry standard development practices. Dependency injection is used throughout the site and the codebase to implement a loosely coupled system, meaning you can pull out and change functionality as you wish if you need to. Interfaces are used throughout the system to allow you to mock any features that you need during any unit testing. Methods are also marked as virtual where appropriate, allowing you again to easily override out-of-the-box functionality. And we've done our best to remove any internal and statics from the system, again making it far easier to release a decoupled testable solution. On the marketing side, we also have a series of marketing extensions which ship as part of SxA Storefront. These include 43 page events, 4 goals and 2 outcomes. And all of this is powered through the Sitecore Experience Editor. That means you get a full drag and drop interface to build out all of your storefront pages. All of the controls which are provided as part of SxA Storefront also have full design time support. That means that they have their own mock data sources which are used where appropriate. And all of them are personalizable and testable throughout, meaning you can completely tailor your storefront to match your individual needs. Now that's a good high-level overview, but I think it's time to go and give you a bit of a demo of how this all works. So I want to start by taking you through the actual storefront, which is delivered as part of SxA Storefront. As I said, this is a full end-to-end B2C shopping experience built entirely out of those 40 plus controls that you're provided with out of the box. As we load the site up, we can see we get a carousel of highlighted products. We also have our navigation menu above, highlighting the different categories that are available on the site. If we go into one of the categories here, you get your product listing page. You have a series of facets that can be applied on the left. You can also change the sort order. You have pagination provided and can also change the results per page. So it looks like most standard e-commerce shops. Once again though, all this is built just using those 40 controls which are provided for you. In the header, you can notice we have the standard return to home link. We also have the ability to perform a search. And then this also provides the facets on the left again. We have the ability to change the language of the site. And we also have the mini cart, which I mentioned earlier, which shows the current state of the cart and the ability to log in and out. So I'm going to go back to my appliances and I'm going to load up one of these microwaves. Now this is the product detail view that you're provided with. You can see you have the imagery for the product. You have the various properties for it, like its title, description, the current stock level. We have the pricing, which is all handled through the dynamic pricing engine, applying any discounts that may be applied live at runtime. Just below the price, you can also see the variant selector. So these are 4 different variants of this microwave that are available. Then you have the quantity selector and the add to cart button. So I'm pretty happy with this microwave. I'm going to add this to my cart. The first thing you should see is that the mini cart live updates. So there's live communication between these 2 controls, giving a really seamless experience to the end user. I'm going to continue browsing through the site here. I think I'm going to pick up one of these tablets as well. Maybe 2. Again, we'll add that to the cart. Notice the mini cart updates instantly to reflect the new state. And we can go from there to view the actual cart itself. Here we get a summary of the products that I've added to the cart. Each line item, we can adjust the quantity. If you have a discount code, they can be applied at this point. And you get summary data, including the subtotal for the cart, any discounts and shipping and taxes that may be applied. So I'm pretty happy with these products, so I'm going to start the checkout process. Here again, on the left, you get a preview of what products you've added to make sure these are the correct ones. And notice at the top here, you get the checkout step indicator, which I mentioned previously, currently highlighting that we're in the delivery step, about to enter our delivery information. Because we have multiple line items, it's possible to actually set the delivery per line item if you want them shipped in separate fulfillment actions. But to keep this simple, I'm just going to ship them together. So I'm going to start entering my shipping details. And then we can view the available shipping options for that address. I want these shipped pretty fast, so I want standard overnight. We can proceed to the next step in the checkout and notice that the step indicator is updated. We've changed from the delivery step into the billing step. Here I can enter my email address. And once that's been entered, we can enter our payment details. As I mentioned before, this is a full integration with Braintree for the payment, and I've entered my sandbox details previously, so that means I can start to use their test credit card details. We can validate the payment to make sure the card's approved, and then we move down to enter our billing address. I'm pretty happy with all these details, so we move on to confirmation. Once more, notice that the step indicator is updated, showing that we're now in the review phase. And this is the final point where we get a summary of all the data we've entered. Again, on the left, we have the full cart details. In the right column, we then have our order information, including the totals, the shipping costs, the VAT, and the savings we've made. Then we have our delivery and billing addresses, including our payment methods as well. All of this looks pretty good, so I'm going to confirm the order. And now we get our confirmation. The order has now been logged into the Commerce Engine database and stored in a pending state. The user is presented with his confirmation page. He has his confirmation order number, and you can see the status himself here. So as you can see, this is a fully working end-to-end B2C shopping experience provided for you right out of the box. So that's really cool, but I also want to show how easy it is to actually build all these pages up. So if we jump into the back end, we can start to see how all this is pulled together. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to create a campaign landing page for one of our refrigerators. We're going to be doing an imaginary email campaign, and we want to have a URL that people can hit, which will give them the details of the fridge we want to push. So we create a new page called Fridge Campaign under the Home item, and we're going to jump straight into the Experience Editor. This is the drag and drop interface I mentioned previously that allows you to build up the pages. First of all, we're going to move over to the Experience Accelerator tab, and we're going to pick a page design. Now this is a commerce page, so we're going to use the default commerce page design. Again, all this is provided for you straight out of the box. You have to click Save to update that. Now we can see all of the page scaffolding for a commerce page has been introduced. We can see the header which we looked at before, including the search, the mini cart. I mentioned before about mock data, and we can see now that the mini cart's populated with 5 mocked out products. Here we have the messaging control. Again, another one I touched on before, allowing you to provide contextual messaging to the user as they navigate through the store. And on the right here is the toolbox containing all of the commerce controls I mentioned. Here we can see all of the account ones for editing addresses, changing passwords, login and registration. We have the cart-based ones for adding to cart, mini cart, cart lines. The long list of catalog controls for outputting merchandiser data, so product images, inventory, information, product pricing and variants. We have our checkout controls. These are what we use to build the multi-step checkout process, which I just went through then. We have our orders controls, used to provide a summary of orders that users have placed on the site. And we also have the shared ones I mentioned previously, like the language selector you can see in the header and the message summary you can see here. I want to show you how you can use these to start to build out an actual page. So I'm going to start by adding a catalog item container. This is a special control which is used to set the context of all other controls added within it. What that means is that I can go in here and choose a product, and I'm going to select the refrigerator, which we're going to have a campaign for. Now this is active in this placeholder. Any other controls I drag into the placeholder will take the context of that product, and that'll become a bit more clearer in a second. So first of all, I think I want to add some columns. So you can see we have now a left col and a right col, and some nice guttering down the sides to give us a nice layout. So I think this is ready for us to start adding the actual product data. So we can go into the catalog section, and I want to add some product images, and I think they'd sit quite well in the left col. Straight away, you can see that these are the images for the product that I added in the catalog item container. That is what I mean by the controls you add within there take the context of the container. If we changed the catalog item container to point to a different product, all the controls within it would update their data sources to also point to that product. So I'm pretty happy with that. So let's start adding some more data into the right column. I think we'll get some product information in there. We've already populated some UI text data sources, so we'll use those. And what else do we want? Let's add some inventory. I think we may want the variants as well. We probably need the price in there. And finally, what we're going to add is an add to cart button. And that gives us everything we need for a campaign landing page. We can go and publish this out to the web database now. Now if we flip back to our browser session, we can load up the fridge campaign URL and see all the controls we've added. Here's the product images in the left column, the title and description of the product. We have the inventory level, its variants, and once more, we can add it directly to the cart. So hopefully that's given you a good introduction to SxA Storefront. I started off by giving you showing you some slides, giving you a high-level overview of what the product contains. Then I walk you through the end-to-end shopping experience that you get out of the box. And then finally, I showed you how really easy it is to create pages on your site using the drag and drop interface that frees up you as merchandisers to be able to do this as often as you like, really quickly, really easily. Thanks for listening today.